A scrub like you who don't know what a man's about. Pay my bills, keep paying my telephone.
Years ago, Letoya Luckett got kicked out of one of the hottest girl groups in history. Exactly. We are cutting through the chase and getting into the meat of the story. If you did not grow up in the 90s, the name Letoya Luckett might not ring any bells. In fact, this might come as a shock to you, but the all-popular group Destiny's Child had 3 members kicked out before the trio we all know today was born. Well, one of them was Letoya Luckett.
Part of me says I'm over you. A part of me wants to say goodbye.
Hey guys, my name is Letoya Luckett and welcome to my home.
Do not get drawn to her sassy look. Letoya fought through battles to look that good and to afford everything she has now. One of those battles was getting blackballed after she was kicked out of Destiny's Child. Destiny's Child was the IT girl group of the 90s.
Group, I'm Rachel. You just saw them do their thing, and here they are, the newest group on the scene, Destiny's Child. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Why'd you introduce yourself?
I'm Latavia. I'm Letoya. I'm Beyonce. And I'm Kelly.
All right, Destiny's Child.
They stood out with sweet vocals and an arresting personality. But when it came to messy drama, they were not different from the rest. I know, it is hard to picture the regal Queen Bee, the charming Kelly Rowland, and the sweet Michelle Williams as being part of any drama. You are probably even wondering if these sweet girls were not dragged into a mess by the trifling members who had to be kicked out. Well, I can assure you, you are wrong. Beyonce, for one, was not always the quiet pop star who gave 0 interviews. She was once like this.
Every single one of us can sing, which has never been the case. So,
Yes, that is Beyonce Knowles, insinuating that the old members of her crew could not sing. Members who will go on to suffer the effects of statements that might have hurt their esteem for years. One of them, Letoya Luckett.
In a car in LA. Wow. While I was making my first album.
To understand why this was such a tragic moment and why Letoya's comeback is so celebrated by her fans, we need to take it years back. Letoya Luckett was born on March 11, 1981 in Houston, Texas. She grew up in a musical family, and she started singing just years after she was born. Her mother knew she had a star on her hands and did everything to harness her talent. That must sound like someone you know. That's right, Matthew Knowles. It is no wonder that when she finally met Beyonce, they hit it off from the jump. Well, contrary to popular opinion, Matthew Knowles was not really the brainchild behind Destiny's Child. Of course, he gets major credits for a lot, but the girls were already in a group before he came into the picture. He only finessed it all. In fact, one of the original members who was there from the jump was also kicked out. Destiny's Child can be traced all the way back to 1989 in Houston, Texas, when Beyonce Knowles and Latavia Robinson decided they wanted to be singers. These were 2 little girls who didn't even know each other, but who had the same dream. In 1990, a group of talent managers held an open audition because they wanted to form a child girl group. It was at this event that fate brought Beyonce and one of the girls she would later throw shades on at interviews together. Beyonce and Latavia became best friends almost immediately.
I guess you never mind me thing, but you can't buy me no treat for from you. I cannot lie.
Because they were so talented, they were both chosen to join the group. There were a lot of other girls in the group, none of which are important in this story. Who was important, however, was another random girl Latavia managed to meet at her school. One guess who she was? Little Kelly Rowland.
Kelly was singing I'm Your Baby Tonight by Whitney Houston. I was like, you gotta try out for our group. So she tried out and she made it.
With her new friend, Kelly soon got pushed to audition and she joined the girl group. She walked into the group and met Beyonce. These 2 girls, who grew up to share a stage with an aspiring American candidate, would never have known of each other's existence if it weren't for Latvia. Their large group was originally named Girls Time, with Beyonce as the lead singer. The management of the group decided Beyonce was more marketable and kept her front and center of everything. At this time, they were managed by Brian K. Moore and Adretta Tillman, while Matthew Knowles was working in a corporate job. His interest in the group must have grown when Kelly moved into the Knowles household. Kelly was raised by a single mother who was a full-time nanny and couldn't afford to be a present mother.
Keeping kids, and was having difficulties getting Kelly back and forth to rehearsal, and asked if Kelly could live with us for a short period, and that short period became about 12 years.
Although Kelly was never...
With Kelly in the Knowles home, their household soon became a home of growing talents. But how does Letoya fit into all this? We are getting to it. When Girls Time failed to be picked by a record label the group had auditioned for.
3 stars.
We ended up losing, and I remember the pain that we felt backstage. It was so...
Matthew Knowles realized that if he didn't take matters into his own hands, his little girl's dream of being a pop star would remain a dream forever. So he asked to be allowed to manage the group. His request was immediately denied, but Matthew did not back down. He did something drastic. Beyonce's brother gave us the tea when he said Matthew threatened to pull Beyonce, the star, from the group. Now, that was a risky threat that could have gone either way. But in his case, it worked, and he was made manager, so he quit his corporate job immediately. Tina Knowles also got involved and became the stylist and even vocal coach. Matthew got to work immediately. He got dance tutors for the girls and even put them through a boot camp at his home where they practiced every day. He taught them how to give interviews, how to own the stage, how to look directly into the camera, basically everything.
And we would then look at tapes, and we would look at Whitney Houston, Mariah. Question, what are we singing about? What is this song about? And they'd go back, do dance rehearsal.
It was at this point Letoya came into the picture. Letoya met Beyonce Knowles at the age of 7 in elementary school.
Girl Scouts. I remember walking in the Girl Scout meeting, asking Toya, "Do you want to be in the group?" And she was like, "Yeah!" So she tried.
Little Letoya could not have known how much that friendship would change her life. Just like Latvia, who brought Kelly into the group, Beyonce told her new friend to come audition for her father.
There, me and B kind of met.
They met at the school play?
We met at the school. We met at the schoolhouse, and then I heard her voice, and I said, "Oh yeah, you can't just keep that to yourself. You got to audition for the school play. And there's a role of Pinocchio, and I think you'd be great in it." And she auditioned, and I was kind of upset because I said, "Now wait, I wanted that."
Letoya did, and Matthew immediately loved her. She joined the group and became one of the many girls Matthew had over in his house for rehearsals. Not long after she joined, Matthew cut down the group members to 4: Latavia, Kelly, Beyonce, and Letoya. They changed their name from Girls Time to something fresh: Cliche, The Dolls, and even Destiny, before settling on Destiny's Child.
We were Destiny's. Then we ended up being Destiny's Child. We had so many different
Cliche
names.
was one of the names.
Yes.
So Girls Time, Cliche, were there more?
The doll, the something fresh.
Something fresh.
Today's mom was about to read the Bible one day, and our picture was in there, and it fell out. And next to the picture was the name Destiny in boldface print. We were looking for a name, yeah. And
that was how Letoya and the other girls found themselves in one of the biggest girl groups of all time. They burst into the scene with songs like Say My Name and No No No. Everything was beautiful and sweet until one day, Letoya and Latavia watched a music video of a song they had recorded, but with 2 strange girls singing their part. They had been kicked out.
Something that happened suddenly, like at the spur of a moment. It was something that had been going on. It was things that we were noticing for
It was
years.
conflicts that were going on.
Yeah,
The
for years.
departure was like this.
But we are getting ahead of ourselves. These misunderstandings started small, but they became so big that Beyonce even wrote them an angry letter. Well, by the time the fans smelt the beans, the hornet's nest had been kicked. There were messy interviews, lawsuits, and very heavy accusations of harassment and even fraud. Somehow, Letoya managed to clean up from all these and become the success that she is today. All her songs have generated millions of views on YouTube, and she is slowly becoming one of the most loved Destiny's Child singers. But that is still a long way forward. Trust me, we are nowhere near the middle of this story. grab a popcorn, and enjoy the ride. Before the group blew up, Letoya and the girls worked hard. They were always at rehearsals or at a show. They sacrificed everything. They missed prom and so many other fun things young teens did.
Sacrifices that also come with it that we had no idea about. We didn't know that we were going to be away from our family so much.
Matthew was so determined to get them all the fame, or at least get them for his daughter, that he worked all of them hard. But he also worked hard too. He sent out dozens of tapes, demos, and photos to record labels. And the girls even started opening for major R&B acts like Drew Hills and SWV before they finally landed a recording contract in 1995. They later moved to Atlanta, Georgia to record their debut album. In 1997, Destiny's Child's original manager and co-founder, Andretta Tillman, died of lupus. And just like that, Matthew became the official manager and was now authorized to oversee all their business deals. His first act was to negotiate a deal with Columbia Records. And soon, the girls were flown to Oakland to record music with Dwayne Wiggins of the 90s soul and R&B group, Tony, Tony, Tony. The track, Killing Time, was so good that it ended up being included in the soundtrack to the 1997 film, Men in Black.
Baby, I'll be sitting here waiting.
Letoya and the girls soon blew up. Their debut single, No, 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 and its remix featuring Wyclef was a huge success. It even peaked at number 3 on the Hot 100.
Oh, yeah, no. When it's really, yeah. When you say no, no, no.
With this momentum, they got to work on their second album, The Writing's on the Wall. This time around, they worked with hitmakers like Rodney Darkchild Jerkins, Chris Stokes, Candy Burris, and even Missy Elliott. But it is usually when you're high up in the skies that the devil comes knocking. There were many rumors as to why Letoya and Latavia were dropped. One particular rumor was that Latavia had gotten pregnant by a member of a boy band and so was kicked out. Letoya, being her good friend, decided to walk out with her. There were also rumors that Letoya and Kelly were dueling over a man, and Letoya was kicked out because of that. Well, the truth is not hard to find, as the parties involved have kept very little to the imagination. Let's get into it. According to Letoya, the tension began to bubble up during the recording of the group's second album. She and Latavia alleged that it was so obvious Matthew was setting Beyonce up to be the main singer, which would lead to her having a successful solo career. And they also accused him of not paying them equally. Mr. Knowles' favoritism towards Kelly and Beyonce was so obvious, and he even refused to share financial information with them. Of course, it didn't make it better that Beyonce and Kelly were able to afford cars and Letoya wasn't. She naturally had so many questions about why they were working the same, yet 2 of her group members were being paid better. Beyonce tried to clear that.
We all made the exact same amount of money, so we all had opportunities to go out and buy cars. And I've been having the car for about 2 years, the same car. It was my choice.
But she was answering questions that were not targeted at her. Everything finally blew up in 1998. If you're a Gen Z, you probably weren't even born then. But in that year, the first lawsuit of Destiny's Child was filed. By who? Letoya and her mother, Pamela Luckett. Against who? Matthew Knowles. The suit was filed in Harris County, and they filed it after Matthew allegedly refused to provide an audit of the group's finances. But their biggest complaint was made by Pamela, who claimed Matthew had had her removed from a tour bus forcibly. She claimed she had come to the aid of her asthmatic daughter, but Matthew threw her out. In fact, the boys the girls were rumored to be pregnant for were the only ones who stood up for her. Well, Matthew claimed she was lying. He said he had her removed because Pamela wasn't covered by the insurance company to ride the bus. I don't know about you, but that does not sound like a good enough remove to have anyone thrown out. It was stuff like that created friction in the group, and soon there were issues every other week, as Beyonce later revealed in her letter. But until the girls were kicked out, fans thought they had settled their differences. They looked chummy during interviews and even released new music together. They even released 2 hits, The lead single, Bills, 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 of the sophomore album was a huge Billboard chart topper.
I haven't I found another, a baller. When times get hard, need someone to help.
Their second single, Bugaboo, was also a major hit.
You make me wanna throw my picture out the window. Tell the MC out to cut the phone calls.
These two songs cemented their fame. So when they released their second album, The Writing's on the Wall, it didn't do as badly as the first. They released on July 20th, 1999, and it immediately debuted in the top 10 with over 132,000 copies sold in its first week. That was a massive success at a time when there was no social media. Finally, the girls could see the result of all their hard work and sacrifices. But with new money pouring in, Letoya and Latavia became even more worried about how their finances were being handled. It is said that they demanded new management for the whole group, or at least their own separate manager. Matthew later reacted to this and called it ludicrous.
Seemed to feel that they could continue on as part of the group and yet under their own management. Was that even conceivable as far as you're concerned?
That's ludicrous. There's only one word for that. You have to have cohesion. Columbia Records is not going to deal with two managers. That's not going to happen. That's not real world.
But Latavia has now come out to say that wasn't really what they wanted and that their request was misunderstood.
Simply wanted to get a business manager to come in on top of that, to just make sure that we were all taken care of. You as a half of the group, you cannot fire the manager. Nobody ever wanted to do that. And it was said, even by management, that it's ludicrous. You can't fire the group's manager. We didn't try to do that.
Matthew completely stopped telling them about upcoming performances, but informed Columbia's parent company, Sony Music, that Letoya and Latavia were failing to perform under their recording contract. Anyway, they sought legal advice, and Letoya and her ally were told they were no longer legally bound to contracts signed as minors once they turned 18. So they swung into action. In December of that year, they wrote to Matthew to say they intended to terminate their contract with him as the manager, but they never asked to leave the group. When a reply to their mail arrived, they must have been shocked to see Beyonce's handwriting and not Matthew's. Beyonce must have told her father to hold his peace while she jumped in to give them a piece of her mind. Vibe magazine managed to get hold of that letter and published it for the world to see. Those were fun times of real celebrity drama. The letter read, "I have shared one of the best moments in my life with the two of you by my side. I have also shared some of the worst. I never complained when you didn't sing one note on numerous songs on the album. I've never complained that when I was working my butt off in the studio, as I did on the last album, the two of you were both either sleeping or on your phones approximately 80% of the time. I never complained that the two of you were lip syncing to my vocals on some of the videos and on stage. In fact, I only helped make our contributions appear equal to the public. About every 3 weeks or less, there's drama caused by one or both of you. It has been this way for at least the past 2 years, and I don't deserve this." Whoa! Kelly also jumped in on the shade. She wrote her own letter accusing the girls of making everyone feel uncomfortable with their constant drama. Guess who else popped in to defend Matthew? Tina Knowles. She backed the claims of Beyonce and Kelly and said the group had been peaceful until Letoya joined the group. Whoa. She also said she and Latavia had made everyone miserable. Letoya and Latavia were probably thinking up how to respond to their letters when the biggest blow of their lives struck. To understand how sudden and shocking this blow was, watch this video.
I think we're gonna be home Christmas and New Year's.
We're about to go to Europe, and as soon as we get from Europe, then hopefully we'll get a couple days home.
And we're also gonna do our new video too.
That's right. Say my name.
Say my name. I think the 27th of December, to be exact.
Yep, the girls were looking forward to shooting the music video of one of their biggest hits, Say My Name. And the video was shot, all right, but it was shot without them.
What was that like though when you heard that they'd shot a video for a song you sang on without you.
I was like, nah, you playing, shut up.
I was like, hold on. I was like, it's not true. Then we got another call and we heard it again. Then the next thing I'm looking at BET. The premiere of Destiny's Child's new video, Say My Name. That's how.
The music video premiered on February 15th, 2000, and Letoya watched strange girls lip sync to their lines. That was how Letoya found out she and Latavia had been dismissed from Destiny's Child. They were replaced by Farrah Franklin, and you guessed right, Michelle Williams.
Well, my name is Michelle Williams. I'm 19 years old, from Illinois. What's up, everybody? I'm Farrah. I'm from LA, and I'm also 19. And two of the ladies decided that they wanted to fire my father as a manager without ever discussing it with us. We got a letter one day, and we were performing the day before together. So it was devastating to Kelly and I. 3 days later, we get a call from their attorney saying that not only do they want their own manager, they want all the money that they've paid my father back. And of course, they didn't want to pay the 20% or whatever. Right. So, which means Kelly and I would have to double up on expenses. So basically, we felt like either we had to find 2 new members or the group would self-destruct.
The girls were shocked. They didn't think Beyonce and Kelly would take it personally, seeing as their issues were with management and not them. And they made that very clear in their interviews.
It was not a dispute with Beyonce and Kelly.
At all.
We didn't have any arguments. Letoya and I, we never quit the group.
Never quit.
We never quit.
Never left, never even said anything about quitting the group.
We simply wanted to disaffirm our personal management agreement with our manager. And because of it, this happened.
Right.
But Beyonce and Kelly did not believe them. And here's why.
Insist to us that they've got love for you guys. They do not have hard feelings for you. Their issue is with management and not with the two of you.
Well, they slapped a nice lawsuit on us.
Yeah.
So
That's a lot of love.
That's some hard love, isn't it?
Yes, Letoya and Latavia filed a lawsuit against Beyonce, Kelly, Sony Music, the group's manager and executive producer, Matthew Knowles, for breach of contract, defamation, libel, and fraud. They also claimed that Matthew had stolen their money and had even tried to gain legal guardianship of them. How messy? Matthew fought back. He revealed details about a tour that the group took with the boy group Jagged Edge and singer John B, since he was managing all 3 acts. He released these details in his book and in subsequent interviews. According to him, while both Letoya and Latavia were dating the Casey twins, Brian and Brandon of Jagged Edge, the other 2 boys started harassing Beyonce and Kelly. So Matthew made the decision to remove the boys from their tour bus to protect his minor daughter and Kelly, especially since the Jagged Edge boys were adults, around 20.
It started really from a poor decision that I made in putting on that tour we just talked about with John B, on putting both Destiny's Child and Jagged Edge on the same tour bus. Now remember, the girls are minors. They're minors. They're 16 years old. The guys are 21, 22 years old. I have a fiduciary duty with minors by the law. There's a certain way I have to manage that. I got a call from Kelly.
This sounded like a plausible story until Jagged Edge also jumped in an interview and called Matthew a liar. They said they were thrown out of the bus after defending Letoya's mother, Pamela, during the other tour bus incident. Well, who was lying? And who was telling the truth? No one knows. Everything became even more messy when Beyonce and Kelly began throwing heavy shade.
A lot better. The songs are a lot better. Our magic on stage is a lot better. We sing a lot better. Everybody gets to sing lead now because everybody can sing lead. So
they were even quoted by Vibes magazine to have taken shots at Letoya's talent. They said Letoya was tone deaf and that she wasn't originally a singer, but a rapper. Letoya did not take these shades well. She would later admit to second thinking herself and her voice. She would approach microphones scared because of the criticism she had faced. Of course, it didn't help that she was used to singing in a group
miss the girls the most. Because I was so used to being on stage and looking to my left and my right and seeing, you know, B. Kelly L. And I didn't have that luxury anymore. So I would get for real anxiety attacks before going on stage because I was like, I gotta sing this song live and the expectations and, you know, all these different things. How am I gonna sound? And people are gonna judge. And I was in my...
Latavia didn't either. She recounted that she was once told, "You don't even do enough in this group to have an opinion." She also said that when the group split, it was like a marriage that went wrong, and she started drinking. But Beyonce and Kelly did not stop there. They even said they had all been like sisters until 2 years into stardom when boys started getting into Letoya and Latavia's heads, and they lost focus. They claimed the girls stopped wanting to do interviews or rehearse. While Letoya kept claiming her issues were with the management, her former group mates did not seem to think so. Letoya and Latavia eventually dropped their 2 former group mates from the suit, and all parties reached a settlement. The terms were not disclosed publicly, but a lawyer said the case was settled amicably, and Letoya and Latavia felt vindicated. If this is true, it means they had not lied about the activities of Matthew Knowles. Then again, if Letoya and Latavia had not lied, does that mean Farrah Franklin was telling the truth too? Farrah Franklin was the 3rd member to leave the group just months after she joined to replace Letoya. She left just as suddenly as the other 2, and it was even announced during an interview with MTV. Beyonce claimed Farrah left after missing appearances and performances, but Farrah called her a liar.
True. I've never missed a show, ever, or I would have got kicked out the group. You know how much I was getting paid to do a show, and that's the best part of my day? I'm not missing any shows. But when I leave the group, they weren't honest with people and said that I left. They were trying to give themselves more time to clear the air or whatever, but I've never missed a show, ever. And like I said, if I would have missed the group, then they would have kicked me out. So, you can't.
She said she had fallen very sick and was struggling to keep up with the group.
Went to the hospital yesterday of dehydration and a stomach flu, so I'm trying to get through this day. But still can't wait to perform.
Right. And as you can see, it's only 3 cheering in Destiny's Child here. Sarah, you know, earlier she was telling y'all how she wasn't feeling well. Her stomach virus is kicking in right now, and she unfortunately can't spend the rest of the day.
She has traveled home for treatment and was shocked to hear the interview where Beyonce claimed she was missing shows.
I think they were giving themselves enough time to put it together a plan of what they were going to say or whatever, because like I said, I've never missed a show.
These shows that she's talking about, are you saying that you were no longer part of the group when these shows actually happened?
Yes. I did walk out on Seattle, and that's when I quit the group. What you see is me leaving the group.
She even said Tina caused her hair to fall out. She said by the time SBE was done with Beyonce and Kelly and Michelle's hair and got to her hair, she would just run a hot comb through. She also said got leftovers for costumes. Well, Tina claimed she was lying. Again, who do we believe? Farrah did not hold back on the tea. She even revealed that Matthew made Michelle drop her ethnic name Mitra and go by Michelle instead. Now that is surprising. But by far, the most surprising thing was when she said Matthew had invited her to his hotel room and tried to come on to her. We don't know how that accusation was handled, but we know Farrah was never called back to Destiny's Child. Beyonce insisted that being a member of Destiny's Child was work, and if you couldn't show up for work, you could leave. Her father supported that. Well, the group continued to perform as a trio. When asked if they were going to replace Farrah, Kelly answered, "We don't need more chaos." Well, isn't it kind of ironic that Latavia and Letoya got kicked out of the group because of Matthew? Then Farrah quit for almost the same reason. Later, Michelle and Kelly both fired him as their manager, and Beyonce finally fired her dad. Does that mean that they owe Letoya and Latavia a big apology? Well, that's still further ahead. While the members of the new Destiny's Child went on to sell out shows and tracks, Letoya fell into depression.
The radio station, the radio host, talking about the breakup. And I was like, I gotta get out of here.
She watched the group she had sacrificed everything for blow up, but she watched from outside the club. She watched as they could afford designer clothes and travel the world while she was dropped like an inconsequential object.
So we went through sacrifice, that and missed the prom, and now I'm at the house. So I'm at the house. I'm at the house. Baby, they blowing up.
They blowing up.
Oh, baby, let me tell you what I was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, they took this picture and they had on Christian Dior from head to toe.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they can afford Dior, child. We was in the I said, they got Dior on bags, they got the headscarves. They make Dior headscarves. I want one.
I want to pee.
Oh, I was mad at that.
You know what made it worse? She was super broke. Letoya had nothing. For a while, she was even living in her car. On the days she wasn't living in her car, she was living under the benevolence of friends. She would watch the new girls accept awards for tracks she had sung in. It really hurt. And she even had to go through therapy. I mean, Destiny's Child was blowing up in her face. Everything they had worked hard for together had started to pay off. Their second album, The Writings on the Wall, was on the national top 20 for months, and they sold 2.5 million copies. Their fourth single, Jumpin' Jumpin', also became a top 10 hit, and they became the most successful female pop and R&B vocal group since TLC. They earned 6 Grammy nominations in 2001 and won 2 Grammy Awards for Best R&B Performance and Best R&B Song. Letoya had to watch them accept this award while she sat in the audience. All Letoya had gained from Destiny's Child was the drama that followed her everywhere. Well, it also followed the other 2 girls too.
The 3 members, what do you mean? Next question, please.
People do have judgments of you.
The drama became even thicker when Letoya and Latavia slammed another lawsuit on Beyonce and Kelly. This time, a federal lawsuit over the lyrical content from the song Survivor. Now that you are out of my life, I'm so much better. Thought that I wouldn't sell without you, but we sold millions. Letoya claimed it was a violation of their previous settlement, which discouraged either party from making any disparaging public comments. However, she and Latavia failed to convince the court that it was a sub. Beyonce claimed it was not directed at them, but to everyone who believed Destiny's Child would fail. Well, I'm the biggest Beyonce fan, but I don't believe that. Beyonce said, I've had people from school who said we weren't going to make it. We had a label that dropped us. For me, I have no problems with anybody. I was 17 when they left. It was so long ago. It's silly. A lawyer for Destiny's Child even called the lawsuit ridiculous, saying it was unfortunate the plaintiffs had nothing better to do. A settlement was reached amicably, and the smoke between Destiny's Child died down again. Well, a lot of people don't know this, but Letoya and Latavia moved to LA and tried to form their own group named Angel. Linda Casey, the mother of the Jagged Edge twins, held a talent search in Connecticut, and that was how they found Natasha Ramos, Natty Quinones, and Tiffany Boudouin. The group recorded a 22-song demo to promote their debut album, and the Casey twins even helped out with songwriting and production. By this time, Letoya and Brian Casey were still going strong, although their relationship was messy.
I was horrible in a relationship, but you know how it is. You're young in this business, and there's so much coming at you, and so many women who I admired growing up in this game, they seem to like me and my brother.
1 minute, they were writing love songs together, and the next, they were at loggerheads.
I just felt that's what everybody goes through at some point in their relationship. Like, they love the person, and then they just want to choke the shit out of them. And they don't, at one moment, it's like,
There were even rumors that Brian was still seeing his ex while dating Letoya. Anyway, Angel made many public appearances and also appeared in the music video for Jagged Edge's Where the Party At? Remakes. Letoya described their sound as danceable R&B with an emphasis on harmonies, since that was what they wished Destiny's Child had offered them. Angel was a part of Jagged Edge's label, 581 Entertainment, under So Def Recordings, who was under Columbia.
Missing you, boy. I'm missing you, and all the things that we used to do. I'm missing you, boy. I'm missing you.
Their album was going to being released. However, the owner of So Def, Jermaine Dupri, suddenly left Columbia Records. This sudden decision caused the 582 Entertainment label to crumble, and just like that, Angel watched their dream of a breakthrough go up in smoke. The girls disbanded and went their separate ways. It was very disappointing indeed. Letoya's struggles made the media and fans attack Beyonce and Kelly even more, but Letoya did nothing to fuel it. She maintained that her issue was with the management alone and not her old friends. But it didn't stop the media. Beyonce and Kelly later revealed they fell into a deep depression, especially because of all the hate mail Beyonce received. Fans accused Matthew of being selfish for Beyonce's benefit, and they also blamed Beyonce for the other two.
Camera stays on you. You get the hottest Dior, they get the leftovers. And, you know, that's a compliment to you. Why don't you just go solo?
Well, I don't think that the group is Beyonce and the girls.
But Letoya Luckett still fought for herself. She realized no one was coming to save her and got up and put in the work.
For that experience, because one, it helped me to become the woman that I am today. It helped me to become the artist, the entertainer, just the creative that I am today. Wow. And
she did not want a solo career at first because of all she had been through.
Asking me, are you going solo? You should go solo. I was like, girl, I'm going to work at West Hill, okay? I'm going to work at Contempo Fashions. I am done with this industry.
Is that what you said?
I was done.
Were you
But when she tried to pursue one, she found it was so hard.
And from DC to becoming a solo artist was pretty difficult for me.
But she did it anyway. Eventually, she signed with Capitol Records and released her first track called You Got What You Need, which did a lot better than she expected. With the small money she made, she managed to open her own clothing boutique, Lady L, investing $30,000 of her own money in the store. She said that opening up a business was quite hard. There were times it looked like her shop would not make it, but she held on tight. Being kicked out of one of the biggest groups in the world might permanently hurt anybody, but not Letoya. She picked herself up and got to work. She even fought tooth and nail to get her solo career off the ground. She released another single in 2005, All Eyes on Me, but it failed to do as well as the first. But that same year, she was featured on a track titled My Promise by singer Houston.
Feel the same way too. Nothing I wouldn't do.
She also contributed to the song What Love Can Do for the soundtrack of the 2005 biographical drama film Coach Carter. Around this time, she started dating Houston rapper Slim Thug, and the couple even collaborated on a track together. Finally, she released her breakout solo single, Torn, in March 2006, and the song launched her right back into the limelight where she belonged.
Part of me says I'm over you. A part of me wants to say goodbye.
This single cracked the top 40 on the Hot 100 and reached number 2 on the R&B and hip hop chart. The music video was number 1 on BET's 106 in Park, which lasted for 25 days. According to Billboard, however, the third single, Obvious, had a 96% chance of becoming a hit too, but because of the merging of Capitol Records and Virgin Records, all funding for the album was stopped. This move even affected the release and promotion of artists on the label, like Janet Jackson. Letoya's self-titled debut album was released on July 25th, 2006, and, well, did it flop? Absolutely not. The album immediately opened at number 1 with first week sales of 165,000 copies.
I had to get to a point where I could look in the mirror and say, you belong.
Yes.
In every room that you see your peers in, you belong there. God has put you there. You're there for a reason.
More beautiful things happened that year for Letoya. She even met and spoke with her former Destiny's Child groupmates. She said, I saw them a couple of days ago for the first time since all of the original chaos occurred. We were all excited to reunite. We conversed for 2 to 3 hours about clothing, shoes, new designer bags, and the current activities in each other's lives. We have all matured and grown in so many ways that it's ridiculous, but for the most part, it was cool. She released 2 more studio albums that failed to be as successful as her debut, but it wasn't quite her fault. She was blackballed. As soon as she began climbing the charts, rumors began floating around that she was using ghostwriters and that she couldn't really sing. They even claimed that her success was just luck. Well, Letoya has now decided to focus mainly on acting, which she is also exceptional at.
Acting. You've been acting since the beginning.
I've been doing school plays. I got a few of them.
Has this been something you've been doing the whole time? And
Not as actually as a part of Destiny's Child, we did Smart Guy. Shout out to.
And she is such a phenomenal actress.
Rough, starring Taraji P. Henson, and I also am a part of that film. And I'm on Tremaine, which airs every Sunday on HBO. So check that out.
She landed good roles in movies like Preacher's Kid and Killers, alongside Ashton Kutcher, and major roles in television series like VH1, Single Ladies, and Greenleaf. But the best thing about Letoya is how positive she has remained. She only has good things to say about her old group members.
The first song that I ever heard her sing was Silent Night. And I don't know what she was singing it for.
Yeah.
But she sang it and the whole school got still.
Wow. Yeah.
When people can just continue through life doing their thing, remove the negativity, not living in the past, heal, time heals all wounds. It must have been.
She even has good things to say about Michelle, who joined the group after she left.
I have grown to love this woman. I love her spirit, I love her energy, I love her smile, I love everything that she is.
She has even advised girl groups to learn from her own mistakes.
Yourself and allow yourself to be open, but to protect your heart and protect your space. Before I let you go, since we're talking about groups, I feel like things are a little different for.
She was also at the hospital when Latavia gave birth to her daughter. In 2011, Beyonce was given the prestigious Artist of the Millennium Award at the Billboard Music Awards. During her acceptance speech, Letoya Luckett and Latavia Robertson were among those she thanked, proving that the beef was long behind them.
Kelly and Michelle from Destiny's Child, I wouldn't be standing on the stage if it wasn't for y'all. I'd also like to thank the original members of Destiny's Child, Letoya Luckett and Latavia Robertson. I'd also like to thank my best friend.
Letoya cried when she heard that speech.
And tears just started to roll down my eyes, and it was so funny. My friend that I was with, they were like, "Are you crying?" I was like, "No, I'm not crying, anything, no." And I immediately tweeted, "I love you too, and thank you." So.
In 2018, Beyonce reunited with both ladies backstage at her On the Run 2 tour, and the ladies were reunited again for Beyonce's Renaissance show.
Ladies and gentlemen, Beyonce.
To see the ladies, we've all, of course, met each other before, but never been in the same place at the same time.
Wow. Apart from her bustling career, Letoya has also found peace in her romantic relationships, but it was not without some hassle.
Love is so amazing. I want a good guy, I want to fall in love and do the things and just, have the pictures, make reels with.
After Brian Casey, she married entrepreneur Tamikis Walker in 2017, and she thought she had finally found her happy ever after. The duo even went on to have 2 kids together, but their fairy tale ended almost as soon as it began.
And God brings certain people into your life for certain seasons, and when the seasons are over, they're over. And there's nothing wrong.
No one knows what caused the breakup, but she recently tied the knot again with Taleo Cole.
No, child.
Y'all are cute.
Yes, honey.
Come on, dress.
Wait, yes. Oh.
Baby said.
In an interview, she said that she is so peaceful now, and she's finally in a place where she's stable. Letoya is proof that you cannot keep a hardworking woman down. She is currently worth around $5 million, and she is still acting.
After everything I've been through, that's the first thing you think to ask me?
I'm sorry. Okay.
It's Vicky. Vicky Knight.
A Lifetime original movie.
Vicky Knight died 5 years ago. No, I didn't. I'm very much alive.
Where you been all this time?
If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.